What if I told you that one simple conversation could unravel everything we thought we knew about the Brown family's relationships? Last season, during the tell-all finale, Meri Brown revealed a private conversation she had with Kody. At first, I was stunned and confused. When could Meri have possibly been alone with Kody? They rarely see each other outside of filming, so when did this happen? Then it hit me. I believe Meri was talking about a conversation from this current season, not a past one. In that tell-all, when she described her exchange with Kody, she was actually teasing what we're about to see unfold on the show now. Think about it. When else would these two have met up if not during filming? Meri said that just a couple of weeks before filming, Kody told her, "I'm still grieving the loss of our marriage." But Meri wasn't having it. She snapped back, "Kody, you don't get to tell me that after everything you've said about me publicly." This sets the stage for one of the most explosive confrontations we've ever seen. But what Kody does next will shock you, and it has nothing to do with love and everything to do with money. What if the fights, tears, and apologies weren't really about love or even family, but cold, hard cash? Here's what most fans don't realize. Sister Wives is not always as authentic as it appears. Many of the so-called emotional moments are actually recreated for the cameras. When a major fight happens off camera, they'll stage it later because these family members rarely interact unless it's for filming. It's more like a production set than a real home. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When Christine and Janelle decided to separate their finances, they didn't just walk away from Kody emotionally, they walked away financially. Each of them negotiated separate contracts with TLC, ensuring their paychecks went directly to them instead of being pooled into one family account. Meri later followed the same path. This completely flipped Kody and Robyn's income upside down. Imagine this. If the show paid $45,000 per episode, that money used to go directly into Kody and Robyn's pot. Now, it's divided equally among 5 separate individuals. That slashes Kody and Robyn's share down to $18,000 per episode, less than half of what they were used to. This wasn't just a small financial shift. It was a massive pay cut that threatened their entire lifestyle. The fancy jewelry, expensive artwork, even Robyn's $25,000 paintings, suddenly, all of it was at risk. And then, Kody made a financial move that could come back to haunt him. Because while his income was shrinking, he was quietly taking on massive new debt, and it all centered around one gigantic house. What if Kody's emotional breakdown wasn't about heartbreak at all, but about a looming financial disaster he couldn't escape? Not long after the family began splitting apart, Kody and Robyn made a jaw-dropping purchase, a $2.1 million home. To afford it, they took out a huge mortgage, with estimated monthly payments of at least $11,000. That's right, every single month, a bill bigger than most people's yearly salaries was hanging over their heads. Now, picture this. Their per-episode income had already been slashed to $18,000, but their bills? They were still living like they were pulling in the full $45,000 per episode. The math doesn't add up, and Kody knew it. When they sold Coyote Pass, it looked like a quick fix, but it wasn't enough. Even after selling the land for around $1.5 million, the profits barely covered what they had originally invested. With taxes, realtor fees, and other costs, they walked away with only about $750,000, nowhere near enough to erase their mortgage problem. This explains why Kody suddenly went on what fans now call his apology tour. At first glance, it seemed like he was seeking forgiveness, maybe even reconciliation. But here's the ugly truth. It wasn't about love. It was about money. Kody needed Meri and Janelle back, not as wives, but as income sources. If either of them agreed to return, their paychecks would once again flow into his pot, doubling his household earnings overnight. And when he told Meri he was grieving the loss of their marriage, it wasn't grief for her. It was grief for the financial security walking out the door. But Meri saw through his emotional manipulation, and what she said next completely flipped the power dynamic, leaving Kody scrambling for control. What happens when someone who's been manipulated for years finally sees the truth and refuses to play the game anymore? When Kody tearfully told Meri he was still grieving their relationship, he expected her to crumble. For years, he had dangled hope in front of her like a carrot, knowing that her deep love for him would keep her tied to the family and to the shared finances. But this time, Meri wasn't falling for it. She fired back, telling Kody, "You don't get to tell me you're grieving after all the things you've said about me publicly. You destroyed this relationship in front of the whole world." This was a powerful boundary that Kody never saw coming. He wasn't just losing Meri as a wife, he was losing a crucial financial lifeline. With Christine and Janelle already gone, Meri's departure meant even less money flowing into Kody and Robyn's household. For years, Kody had relied on Meri's loyalty and her LuLaRoe income to fund his dreams. Christine even revealed in her book how Kody took her house equity and down payment to fund family ventures like Coyote Pass. Meri's independent income was always a safety net, and he believed she'd never walk away. But by the time of this conversation, Meri had finally recognized his pattern. He dropped breadcrumbs of affection just to keep her hooked. He'd promised change, only to backtrack once the money was secure. And he'd use guilt, like claiming he was grieving, to manipulate her emotions. This time, Meri chose herself. She refused to take on his grief, his guilt, or his financial problems. And when she stood her ground, Kody's whole plan began to unravel. But Kody isn't one to give up control easily, and his next move proves just how far he's willing to go to protect his empire. What would you do if your entire empire was collapsing before your eyes, and the only way to save it was to work twice as hard for half the reward? After Meri's bold rejection, Kody's world began to spiral. With Christine, Janelle, and now Meri all taking their separate paychecks, the family's once large income stream was shredded. Kody and Robyn were left with just 2/5 of the total earnings, a brutal pay cut that threatened their luxurious lifestyle. Kody's solution? More episodes, more drama, more work. The show once averaged around 12 to 14 episodes per season. But suddenly, we saw massive expansions. Last season? Over 20 episodes, plus 4 tell-all specials. Total runtime, nearly 25 episodes, almost double the earlier seasons. Why? Because TLC pays per episode, and Kody was determined to stretch every drop of drama into another paycheck. The infamous labacks and talkbacks weren't just for fans, they were strategic filler, designed to create more billable content. But this plan came at a cost. Robyn, who had previously filmed very little, was suddenly pushed into the spotlight, forced to carry storylines to keep the cameras rolling. Even Kody himself had to participate in grueling extra shoots, including special forces appearances, to keep the money flowing. It was a clear sign of just how dire their financial situation had become. What looked like a family sharing their lives was now more like a business partnership under siege. And as Kody fought to keep control, he began looking for a new strategy, one that could bring in fresh money and restore his dominance. But this next move could destroy what's left of the Brown family's legacy, and it involves bringing someone new into the fold. Could Kody really be planning to bring another wife into the family, not for love, but for cash and control? As Kody's financial empire crumbles, one thing has become crystal clear. His past strategy of using the wives' collective incomes to build wealth no longer works. With Christine, Janelle, and Meri each taking their own $18,000 per episode, Kody and Robyn are left with scraps compared to the wealth they once enjoyed. And here's the harsh truth. Their extravagant lifestyle, luxury homes, expensive artwork, maxed-out credit cards, and high-end jewelry was built on the assumption that the entire family's TLC paychecks would flow into Kody's central pot. Now that system is gone. So, what's a man like Kody to do? Many fans believe he's quietly searching for a new wife, not to expand his family emotionally, but to expand his bank account. A new wife would mean another paycheck added to the family pool. Fresh drama to boost ratings, which means more episodes and more money. A chance to regain the control he's lost as the other wives break free. Even though Kody publicly insists he's done with plural marriage, his past behavior tells a different story. For years, he has manipulated Meri with breadcrumbs of hope, keeping her hooked just enough to secure her income. Christine even revealed how Kody took her house equity and down payment to fund their Coyote Pass dream. Could he be planning to repeat the same pattern with someone new? The signs point to yes. His public grief over Meri seemed less like heartbreak and more like panic over lost resources. His sudden push for more episodes and more spin-offs screams desperation. And fans have noticed subtle hints of him scouting for a new partner behind the scenes. If Kody does bring a new wife into the mix, it could reignite the ratings, but it might also finally shatter the Brown family brand forever. The truth is finally out, and it's darker than anyone imagined. This was never just a love story. It was a business empire built on manipulation, money, and control. As we've uncovered, Kody's emotional apology tour wasn't about reconciling with his wives, it was about saving his collapsing financial empire. Christine, Janelle, and Meri each took their $18,000 per episode and walked away. Kody and Robyn went from living off a full $45,000 per episode to barely scraping by with less than half. Their $2.1 million home, with an $11,000 monthly mortgage, became a crushing weight that TLC paychecks alone couldn't cover. This forced Kody into overdrive. Longer seasons with double the episodes. Endless lookbacks and talkbacks to pad the paycheck. Robyn taking on more screen time than ever before. But at its core, this isn't just about financial survival. It's about power. Kody has always relied on control, using guilt, mixed signals, and false promises to keep his wives tied to him emotionally and financially. But now, with his old playbook failing, he may be ready to bring in someone new to rebuild his empire. The question is, will this risky move save him or destroy what's left of the Brown family forever? What do you think? Is Kody truly done with plural marriage, or is he secretly plotting to bring another wife into the fold? Drop your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next chapter of this story is about to explode, and you won't want to miss it.